Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Unlocking Greatness Podcast with Zenja Glass. Feel free to call me Z. I'm just going to jump right in. When are you going to start acting like an adult? When are you going to put on the big boy pants or the big girl pants and start acting like it? You may say, Z, where are you coming from? When are you going to start dealing with the elephant that's in the room? Everybody has an elephant in the room at some place. When are you going to start dealing with the elephant in the room? By having those uncomfortable conversations that you've been putting off. And you already know exactly what I'm talking about, because everyone has something. Everyone. You know, when you wake up in the morning, what is it that instantly hits your spirit, or something that instantly you think about that just causes a little bit of stress, or causes a little bit of, got to deal with that again, or here we go again. Or before you go to bed, whatever that is, whatever that situation is, and there's always someone or something. When are you going to deal with it? Has it dawned on you that your life is too precious and your time is too precious to remain chained to an elephant in the room? Has it dawned on you that you just may be hurting yourself more by not dealing with the situation because you are afraid of their reaction, or you just don't want to deal with their reaction? The pain that you cause yourself when you don't address things heads on, and I'm speaking with passion, from love, from experience, from situations, so I'm not talking about you. I'm just reliving some of the moments in my life when I've been afraid or didn't want to address the elephant in the room. You cause more pain and damage to yourself than what would happen in terms of their reactions. And I already know some of you are thinking, you know what, Z? One, I don't want to deal with the situation because it's not going to change anything. Two, I don't want to deal with the situation because I've already dealt with it and it didn't change, right? Three, well, I just remove myself from the situation. I just have nothing to do with that person or that situation anymore. But it may still bother you, right? Or four, some kind of way, and I've met people like this because I've led many counseling groups for years, helping people as a part of the spiritual discovery classes that I was in. I'm amazed that there's many people that don't even know that they have elephants in the room. They're so used to them, and they're so blinded that they're so used to stuffing issues or not dealing with issues just for the sake of keeping the peace. They don't even know that there's an elephant in the room. And sometimes it takes someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, there's an elephant. There's an elephant. Here's why this topic is important to me. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. It robs you of your creativity. It robs you of life. It robs you of your peace, your enjoyment of life, your happiness. You say, well, Z, how is that so? Because when you have circumstances or situations that are that you've not dealt with, that takes energy to replay those tapes, those conversations, or that situation in your head or in your heart or in your spirit. It takes energy. You ever been around some people and your energy naturally is drained the moment you're around them? And I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Or you can be happy, but the moment you come around somebody, literally, you're just not even happy anymore. Like you don't even express it. Because there's just so much there with that person or those people or that situation. It just literally just pulls and sucks it right out of you. Now, I've led podcasts on that, that talks about how you got to get that energy and that source from God. And you've got to be able to have some boundaries and some healthy boundaries and limitations. We've talked about that. I think there was a podcast called Who Pours Into You. If you've not listened to that, you should go back and listen to that one or watch that podcast, Who Pours Into You. And I did a demonstration with all of these cups that I had in front of me. And I talked about how there's just very, very few people on what I call my front row, and how I have to always make sure I go back to the source with God to get filled back up again. So I've already kind of talked about the importance of letting go, which was another podcast about let go. You should listen to that one, about how we have to sometimes just let go and let things be so that we can have our peace, Sometimes you literally can't, really, I believe you really can't force anybody to change. But sometimes you have dealt with situations and someone or the situation, the person refuses to change. And you have to, for the sake of your own sanity, remove yourself from that situation so that you can grow and be planted and do the things you need to do. So we've addressed that part when you've already been dealing with it and the reaction has been in such a way that the person or the people refuse to change. But I think that there's many circumstances and situations in our lives that we've allowed to creep up that we just are not addressing. Or we kind of teeter around with it a little bit and we're not really being really direct. I wish I can give some specific examples. I just have to protect the privacy of people. But I'll just say this. The way that I do my best to run my life, and especially in the workplace, is no matter how difficult the conversations are, and I don't like having them, I pull people aside, and I have it. And I go in with the expectation this person may be mad at me. This person may be in disagreement or may not like what I'm about to say, but I can't allow myself to walk around holding all of these chains, because literally you're being chained to something. When there's something you need to talk about and you keep putting it off and you don't do it and you're seeing that person every day or every week or what have you and you're not dealing with it, that's almost like, to me, a chain. Something that's trying to pull me down. It sucks. I can't quite put it in words, but it sucks something out of me. So if you really think about it, and this is just coming to my mind as I'm speaking, it's almost like survival. And what I mean by that is it's either me or them. And half the time they walk around and don't even know that what they're doing because you haven't opened your mouth to say anything. So I'm supposed to walk around with all of these chains on me, carrying this extra burden, this extra weight, simply because I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I don't want you to get mad. And I know some of you live like that. Some of you live in fear of how that person's going to respond. I've been there. I'm being honest. I've been there. I've been there where I've refused to have conversations because I know this person's going to blow up. I know the moment I go there, oh, here we go, right? I thank God that I've learned and I'm learning. I'm not responsible for their reaction. Now, that's a good one. You guys should write that down somewhere. I'm not responsible for their reaction. But I am responsible for being true to me and what's important to me and at least my perspective. And I don't mean going to someone and going off and being rude and cursing somebody out and all that, even though I have done that many times in the past. God forgive me. I have. Back in the day, long time ago, I would curse somebody out in a minute. I'm talking about going with a sense of humility and peace. My mother taught me before she died. She said, baby, know you right and go on. That's exactly how she used to say it. Know you right and go on. I'm like, Mom, that's not even proper English the way you saying that. She said, baby, know you right and go on. And I'm so glad she taught that to me. And what she was instilling in me is you speak your truth. And whether or not somebody agrees with you or not, or what have you, that really is neither here nor there. But you speak your truth and go on. I recently had to do that with someone, and I can't tell you the freeing that I get when I let these, I guess I should say chains, when I allow these chains to come off of me. You know, just because I talk all the time and I do these motivational podcasts, which I love doing because this is just so, there's nothing written down. If you guys can see my desk, this stuff just flows from me the moment the camera's turned on. I just love it. But sometimes it is hard for me to have those kind of conversations because if you're anything like me, I care a lot about people. I don't want someone to be hurt. But I've learned that I cause more damage and pain to myself by not being truthful with what I truly feel. So it's not going to be a long broadcast. I just want to encourage you to unchain yourself. Unchain yourself from the elephant, or elephants, maybe plural for some of you. Unchain yourself from the elephants in the room. Your life is so precious. time is so short. And when you walk around being chained, it limits you from your reach. Let me say that again. When you walk around with all these chains on you, carrying all this extra weight, replaying those tapes over and over that got you mad or hurt your feelings or what have you, or you've not truly expressed what you really feel about a situation, it limits your reach because it takes energy to carry that mess around. And I'm telling you from experience, when you get that out, now there's some situations where you can't actually talk to that person. You know, maybe you've separated and they want nothing to do with you and they've changed their phone numbers and you have to take that before God. But if you're in a situation where you feel like, you know what, there's something going on at work and I've just not been honest with my boss or my coworkers, I don't like this, I don't like that, or a situation where my loved one is doing some things that's really, hurting me in some ways, or, or whatever. It could be, my God, it could be kids, it could be friends, it could be coworkers, whatever the situation may be, maybe not a person at all, maybe just a situation. When you're not addressing that head on and you're skirting around it, it limits your reach because you're giving energy to something that's not giving energy back. And my mission is to help you guys fall back into your mode of creativity, fall back into your mode of unlocking the greatness inside of you, as corny as that sounds, because the podcast is Unlocking Greatness. But anyway, you get my point. My mode is to help you be the best version of you that you possibly can be. So whatever I'm dealing with, you guys know I'll always bring it to you. And right now, most recently in my life, I've been dealing with, I really need to walk in truth to myself and deal with issues that I've stuffed and that I've not really been addressing head on, being very truthful about it and not being concerned with how the person's going to react. Now, you need to have some wisdom in that, because there's some circumstances, because I've led counseling sessions where, for example, if someone speaks to, their spouse or their sibling or whatever, they feel they may get violent. There's some situations where you need to make sure you're protected. Okay, so be wise. If you feel you need to have other people around you or involve authorities or whatever, be wise. Be wise in how you do that. But for the most part, if you're not so much concerned with that, and the worst case scenario you can think of is, okay, somebody's just going to yell or get mad or not speak to me for a few weeks or whatever, address the situation and deal with it. In fact, I did a podcast. Oh my goodness, what was the name of it? There was a podcast I did. It's called You Have Been Set Free. You guys should listen to that one. If you have situations with people that like to give you the silent treatment or not speak to you when they're mad about something, especially if you've addressed an issue and they naturally go into shutdown, you really should listen to that podcast called You Have Been Set Free. My sister helped me years ago when I was dealing with that situation, and she says, baby, you've addressed your truth in the situation and the person's upset and don't want to speak to you for a couple of days, a week or whatever, and don't want nothing to do with you. She said, do you not realize you've been set free? You now get to work on you. You now get to be creative, go deeper in your walk with God, work on your business ideal. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's so true. And I remember having a situation with one of my kids during that time who's like, I'm not going to talk to you no more and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, you guys know there's always some situations with my children. But I just remember my sister teaching me that even in that, when they don't want nothing to do with me for a day or two because they're mad at mom or a week or whatever, she said, baby, you've been set free. So sometimes God's giving you what you need, but because you won't deal with the issue, you don't even get to experience the freedom. So anyway, that's it. Love you guys. I pray that this made sense. Unchain yourself. Don't allow yourself to be walking around chained to an elephant in the room. Your life is too precious. Life is too short. You guys know I think about my son all the time who's no longer with me. His death has taught me how to live. I love you all. This is Z with Unlocking Greatness Podcast. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is Z with Unlocking Greatness Podcast. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification button. Love you all. Bye-bye.